In this video, we shall take a closer look at the concepts behind a rotational motion. Examples of rotational motion are as follows. Suppose you have an object that is tied to a string and rotate about an axis going through this point 0. Say in that manner. We say that this object, say with mass m, executes a rotational motion about an axis passing through this point 0 and perpendicular to the plane of the computer screen. Another example is, say you have a disk like that, or a wheel of some kind spinning about its center. That is the center. So let's say it's spinning clockwise or counterclockwise, does not matter, about an axis passing through this O point and perpendicular to the plane of that computer screen. We say that this disk is also executing a rotational motion. Another example is, assume that you have a rod on a surface, on a horizontal surface, and you allow this rod to fall like that, and it's falling with respect to that point. So the tip of this rod, as it goes from that height and it gets to the ground, is also executing a rotational motion. In this case, the rotational motion is with respect to an axis passing through that point on the ground. The question is how to quantify such a motion, meaning how do we define the speed for such a motion, or the distance traveled, the acceleration, and so on. So how do we define these variables for a rotational motion? To explain these variables, let's go back to the simple model of a rotation. So assume that you have an object rotating like that in a counterclockwise manner with respect to this point. For simplicity, let's assume the rotational motion is a circular motion with radius r. Let's see how we define the distance traveled by such an object. This is the reference line. We call that reference line the 0 degree line. The reason is it's very convenient to use angles to denote position of an object executing a rotational motion. So for a case such as this, the angle is usually measured from such a horizontal line, and let's label that angle theta. Let's assume at some other point in time the object is now here, whose angular position can be written as, say, theta 2 as opposed to theta 1 in the first case. What are the units to measure these thetas, theta 1 or theta 2? Well, it can be measured in degrees. A more convenient unit to measure angles is radians. The conversion between degree and radiant is as follows. Pi radiant equals 180 degrees. So you can use this conversion to go back and forth between radian and degrees. Coming back to this example, let's assume the initial position of this object is at point 1 with angular coordinate theta 1, and at some later point or later point in time, the object is at point 2 whose angular position is theta 2. We say its angular displacement is defined as the angular position at a later time minus the angular position at the earlier time. So theta 2 minus theta 1, and it's also measured in the units of radians. It is similar to a linear motion where an object, say, moving along the x-axis between 2 points. Initial point is x1 and then it gets to x2. We say the displacement in that case is quite simply that distance, which is x2 minus x1. Same thing going on here. Instead of measuring the displacement in the unit of meters, as we would for the case of linear motion, Here we are measuring the angular displacement in the unit of radians. How do we define velocity or speed for angular motion or rotational motion? Coming back to this original example, let's assume that this object takes a time of delta t seconds to go from angular position theta 1 to angular position theta 2. Then we say the angular velocity or the angular speed of this object for that time interval is given by that angular displacement in radiant over that time interval in seconds. So the unit for angular speed or angular velocity is radian per second. Now we note that this is an equation for average angular speed or angular velocity. It is an average value for angular speed or angular velocity for that given time interval, say between t equals to 1 second to t equals to 3 seconds. If you desire to find the angular speed or angular velocity at a particular time, say t seconds, that angular speed or angular velocity is known as the instantaneous speed or angular velocity, and it's given by derivative d theta over dt. The unit is of course radian per second. We emphasize here, just like linear velocity, the angular velocity is a vector, so we have to also specify the direction. And this is how we fix the direction. If the object is executing the angular motion or rotational motion in anti-clockwise direction like that, with respect to the center here, then the direction of its angular velocity is coming out of the plane, and we represent such a direction with a dot. If the direction of rotation is clockwise like that, then the direction of the angular velocity is going into the board, as represented by this cross. Now let's look at the concept of angular acceleration for rotational motions. So let's assume that an object, as shown in this diagram, is executing a rotational motion in a counterclockwise direction. At t equals to t1 second, assume its angular velocity is omega 1, and at t2 seconds the object is there and its angular velocity then is omega 2. Then we define the average angular acceleration as omega 2 minus omega 1 over t2 minus t1. This can be taken as the time interval between the changes. As you can see, the unit for angular acceleration is radian per second squared, and it is also a vector. If we desire the value of angular acceleration at a particular time t, then all we have to do is to take the time derivative of the angular velocity. What about the direction of that angular acceleration? This is how we determine it. Coming back to this diagram, if omega 2 is greater than omega 1, which means the rotation is speeding up, then the angular acceleration follows the direction of angular velocity. Namely, since it is a counterclockwise rotation, the direction of alpha is coming out of the plane. If, let's say, the rotation is slowing down, so omega 2 is less than omega 1, then the direction of the angular acceleration in this case would be going into the plane for a motion that is still counterclockwise as it's slowing down. Simple as that. To understand this better, it's similar to a linear motion. If an object is going to the right and it is speeding up, so the direction of acceleration in this case is also to the right, following the direction of motion. However, if you have an object that is moving to the right, but it is slowing down, in this case, the direction of this acceleration, the linear acceleration, is to the left, opposing the direction of motion, because now the object is slowing down. So we use the same logic in a case of rotational motion. Let's look at the following problem. The angular position of a point on a rotating wheel is given by such an expression, where theta is measured in the unit of radians and t is measured in the unit of seconds. At t equals to 0, find the point's angular position and also that point's angular velocity. So let's assume the wheel is like that. This is the reference line. Assume it is rotating counterclockwise. This is the center of that wheel. So let's answer part A. At t equals to 0, substituting t equals to 0 in the expression for that theta, you see theta is 2 radians. So the angular position of that point is right there. What about its angular velocity at t equals to 0? So first we need to figure out the expression for the angular velocity, and that is just the derivative of theta, the angular coordinate with respect to time. So you take the derivative of this expression, that function with respect to time, and you get 8t plus 3t squared. Immediately you see at t equals to 0, the angular velocity is 0 radian per second. Part C. What is the angular velocity at t equals to 4 seconds? So the value of omega at t equals to 4. Substituting t equals to 4 in this expression, you get 8 times 4 plus 3 times 4 squared. So that is 32 plus 48. And that's going to give you 80 radian per second. Now, since the direction of motion is counterclockwise, the direction for this angular velocity is coming out of the board. Now let's look at part D. What is its angular acceleration at t equals to 2 seconds? So the angular acceleration is given by the time derivative of angular velocity. So you have to take the derivative of that expression with respect to time, and that's going to give you 8 plus 6t. So when t equals to 2, your alpha is simply 8 plus 6 times 2. So 8 plus 12, and that is 20 radian per second squared. So that is the answer for part D. Now let's look at part E. Find its average angular acceleration between t equals to 2 and t equals to 4 seconds. The expression for average angular acceleration is given by the following. The value of the angular velocity at t equals to 4 minus the value of the angular velocity at t equals to 2 divided by the time interval 4 minus 2, which is 2 seconds. So let's determine the value of that angular velocity for t equals to 4 first. So that is 8 times 4, I'm using this equation, plus 3 times 4 squared, which is 80 radian per second. Now determine the value of that angular velocity at t equals to 2 seconds. So that is 8 times 2 plus 3 times 2 squared, and that is 28 radian per second. Substituting this information in there, we get 80 minus 28 divided by 2, which is 26 radian per second squared. So you see, the average angular acceleration is indeed a little bit different than the instantaneous acceleration, say at t equals to 2 seconds. Thank you for watching.